Oh, you've seen it on the runways, you've seen it in music videos. Now you're about to see it in your living room. Christian Dare is here to teach us about the latest interior design trend, color drenching. Okay, Christian, please start by breaking down just what color drenching is.
Color drenching is simple. It's actually taking one color and sort of flooding your space or drenching your space in that color. So, stereotypically, they say it means every painted surface. So we're going to apply the same color to your walls, to your trim, to your window trim, to your radiators, even to your ceiling. So it's this great way to get this sort of envelope of color. You can see I've got this example of this great yellow room where literally every surface is covered with this sort of buttery, delicious yellow, from the benches to the cupboards. And it creates this beautiful envelopment of almost like sunlight, right? I think if you're used to fashion, the easy way to say it's all about monochromatic dressing in fashion put into your house.
Okay, I get it. And when you say it, it sounds like, oh my gosh, that's too much. And then you see it, and I think that is gorgeous, and it's saturated, and it feels good and warm. So let's say we want to try color drenching in our lives. Where do we start?
First, I think it takes a little bit of bravery, because I think we've lived in a world of neutrals. So a little bit of bravery. And then I always say the first thing you should do is consider lighting. It's one of those things you should always consider with any sort of project. I know we always tell people this, like when you're picking a paint color, put a patch on the wall, right? And see, what does it look like in the morning? What does it look like at noon? What does it look in the evening? And then think about, does that lighting work really well with the color you want to pick, right? So it's always the first step is the lighting.
Okay, so let's say you have a space and there's not a ton of lighting in that space. Do you ditch it? Do you say, no, I can't do color drenching in this space?
I say go for it. Go for it, go for it, go for it. I think there's this weird sort of hesitation that we're worried if we don't have lots of natural light, we shouldn't do a dark space. But I actually worked with a lot of clients who spend most of the day out of the house and they come home in the evening. And they actually want that really nice, warm, rich, enveloping, cozy space. If you think about it, there are restaurants that don't serve at lunch, they only serve at dinner. They're always a dark interior because it makes it moody, it makes it sexy, right? So the first step to get drenched is pick your favorite color. Now, I say pick your favorite color because you're going to live with a lot of it when you think about it, right? Walls, ceiling, couches. You got to make sure this is the color you love and not, hey, I think I like lime green today. No, you need to pick a color you love and then pick what kind of effect you want to do. So literally you could keep it very monochromatic and work within the same shades as we talked, where you go just one or two up and down the color palette. Or you could actually opt for a lot of contrast. You could do a dark blue with a light blue because you're still drenching it in blue. So you can always do that. So I always say start with your walls, paint out your baseboard. I don't know why a lot of us have not interesting baseboard. I don't know why we need it to be white when it's a simple 1x4. It's boring. Paint it out so it falls with the walls. And then I say also paint out your window trim. And if you're brave enough, paint out those radiators and paint out your ceiling. Trust me, it's going to transform your space. You're going to have this beautiful box of color that you can now decorate.
It's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a little panicky. You said the radiator and the ceiling and the window trim. I was like, oh my God, okay. So you really like the color. You've picked a solid color and a solid color, like a surface that you like. What do we do next?
So then it's all about layering in your colors. It's all about adding in your soft furnishings. So for my info board, it's always about starting with the paint. So I actually started with this beautiful symphony blue from Benjamin Moore. And then you add in different shades of the same blue, and you want to play with texture and finishes so it feels more interesting. So I threw in this beautiful luxe faux fur throw in a blue from HomeSense, this sort of like painterly throw cushion, so you get those different blues. And then even opt for some great like high gloss elements like this blue little container, and you'll get those different textures, and it'll be this beautiful saturated drenched blue room.
Now, what if you aren't drawn to darker colors there, Christian?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are scared that when I say drenched, I mean really saturated and dark colors, and that's the only way to go. If you're a little bit scared of dark colors, don't be. But you can also opt for something much lighter. So you can see in this sort of pink room, they actually took the lighter shade of pink and then started using the darker shades on the furnishing. So you start with a sort of a lighter color. And I will say this, though, Trace. It's about picking a color. It's color drenching. I don't want to see you paint your whole room white and buy white furniture and tell me it's color drenching. That's just a white room. So we need to make sure we're picking a color, even if it's like the palest pink or the palest green, like in that great music video where it's minty. You want to do that, and then you start picking up from it. So for example, I did this guy, which definitely is saturated, but we picked in some different pinks, right? So I actually grabbed inspo for this one from this KitchenAid mixer. It's called Beetroot Red. It's like a brand new color. And what I love is, this is a great tip, is if it's a color in your kitchen that you love, carry the element into another room in your house. Then it still feels cohesive, right? Like, not all of a sudden you walk in, you're like, oh, what's this beetroot red dining room? It's out of place, right? So then I grabbed, of course, like we said, you start with a great base color. So this is actually called grape juice from Benjamin Moore. I think it's the most delicious grape juice I've ever seen. And you can add in wallpapers. I think people get scared that we can avoid pattern when you're doing drenched. But the trick to wallpaper, this is a beautiful floral from New Wall, is you're going to do things that designers tell you not to do. So I know traditionally we tell you, Trace, grab this wallpaper, and then I want to see all these shades show up 2 or 3 times in your room to have balance, right? Mm-hmm. We're not doing that. You don't want to then pull out that green. We're going to leave the green only in the wallpaper. You're going to pull out just the pinks and the plums and those deep beetroots, because then your wallpaper actually pops even more, right? So it really becomes about that wallpaper, and it makes a statement in your sort of drenched colored room.
Rules were meant to be broken. The only thing that I'd be a little bit concerned about using, you know, all of the same color or all of the same color family is, what if it starts to look flat?
Well, Tracy, it's your house. It's always going to look sexy and not flat. I mean, come on, we know this. But my question to you would be, I know you often will, like I did, sport a monochromatic fashion look. How do you make sure that never looks flat in fashion?
I pop the accessories, I put on maybe a bangle, some earrings, and that stuff just, it breaks up the monochrome.
Yeah, it really is about popping it. I love that I did this when you do earrings, like I'm wearing earrings today or something. But yeah, it's all about, don't be scared to add in a few touches of metallics. So it really is about just doing 1 or 2. You'll see in this great green room that we picked from, everything is fully saturated in green, but there's some really beautiful brass pendant lamps. So if you add in little elements of brass, it really will make that room sing and come to life. This is the classic color from Benjamin Moore. It's forest green, classic green. It's one of their top sellers, actually. And then layering it out with different other elements of the green and with the brass, it really makes that room sing. And this is a great opportunity, if you've sort of jumped into that biophilic design trend, to load it up with beautiful, lush green tropical plants. It carries on that green theme, and it looks really rich and really beautiful. I mean, I'm loving this. I may need to do a green saturated color drenched room in New Orleans.
You may need to do that green saturated color drenched room, and I may need to visit it. I am loving the green as well and living for it. Gorgeous. Christian, thank you.